I feel like there's no drugstore or beauty store in general that you can walk into without seeing a celebrity beauty brand. I feel like it started off with makeup, skincare, and now I'm seeing a shift to hair care. And it's moving in a big way. In the past few years, I would say especially since and after COVID, more celebrities and stars have turned their focus on shampoos, conditioner, and styling products. So it's honestly not a real surprise that celebrities want in on that $90+ billion industry. Hair is deeply tied to your personal identity and style, meaning that a successful line can actually build a huge community. But what we know from the past, and I'm talking about past experiences when it comes to celebrity makeup and skincare brands, star power isn't enough. Beauty consumers are pickier than ever, and we are gonna dive into that. So grab your drink. I made myself an iced coffee because I need some energy for this video, but I'm ready. Well, hello. If you're new here, hi, my name is Angela. I am a board certified trichologist and cosmetic chemist, and basically a beauty science research nerd. So if you're into hair care, scalp care, formulation builds, and deep dives into all of those things, backed by science, without the fluff, this is where you need to be. So don't forget to subscribe and to hit the post notification button to make sure that you get a notification each and every single time that I post a new video. Now let's get back into today's topic. For a while, celebrity makeup and skincare lines were thrown in your face, at least that's how I literally felt, and it went so fast that I couldn't even keep up. It all started off with makeup, and I would say the past couple of years it has shifted to skincare. Think about Rihanna's Fenty Skin, Hailey Bieber's Rhode, and Pharrell's Human Race. And don't get me wrong, there were still makeup brand launches by celebrities. I mean, House Labs is not that old. It's pretty recent. We have Rare Beauty. The list actually goes on. And I have to honestly say that I kind of feel like Rihanna sparked that new interest into celebrities going back into that again when she launched Fenty makeup in 2017. This went on for quite a good amount of years, and hair care stayed relatively untapped into, especially in comparison to makeup and skincare. In fact, industry analysts noted that the hair care industry was underdeveloped in comparison to other beauty sectors. And this actually meant that there was room for new players. I also think that many celebrities also realized that other than skin and makeup, people love their hair just as much as they love their skin or other ways to take care of themselves, making hair products a natural next step. And the pandemic only accelerated this. People were stuck at home, experimenting with hair masks, DIY treatments, and they grew out their dyes. And me personally, I could also online see that hair health and hair growth really became a hot topic. And this really opened the door for celebrities to offer that like pro hair care solution for their fans. To keep it simple, the timing was just perfect. The market was in need and the celebrities were simply able to provide. And now in 2025, I feel like we're going head first when it comes to all these celebrities launching their hair care ranges. It's like a wave that keeps on getting higher and higher, and I don't know how to surf on it anymore, like for real. I see a new celebrity hair care brand popping up almost on a monthly basis, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Maybe I'm already over it, to be honest. And this actually sparked my interest in making this video because a couple of days ago, I saw the announcement online that no other than Shakira is launching her own hair care range. And even though a lot of people are commenting like, finally, we were waiting for this, I gotta be honest, I wasn't. I do think that Shakira has been just as known for her music as for her beautiful hair. She has been rocking these like curly, wavy, almost with a little bit of frizz, like a voluminous blonde hair for I don't know how long, even though she's not a natural blonde, which I was quite impressed by, like how long her hair is able to get with all of that bleach. And I have to read this because this is actually what she literally said, that she even joked in her announcement that looking back at her career, the way I choose to wear my hair defined the era I was in. But I also have to be super honest, I feel like this hair care range by Shakira is something that could have been done years ago. And it actually also would have made sense because I remember that she was the face of, I think it was L'Oreal hair coloring back in the days, and that she even was their global ambassador. I need to double check this, but there was a major hair care brand that she was the ambassador for. And launching something for herself after that, in my opinion, would have made a little bit more sense. But hey, here it is right now. And for a lot of her fans, it's something that they've been waiting on for super long and that they're super excited to finally get their hands on it. This is so annoying about natural lighting. Like, natural lighting and living in the Netherlands don't go hand in hand, but you know, we're working with it. So sorry if the lighting continues to change. That's not me, okay? Shakira made the post announcing her new hair care brand, and the name is Isima. I hope that I pronounce it right because I have heard no one actually pronouncing it, so I'm just guessing, I guess. And the tagline is a must, so more is more in Spanish, which in my opinion kind of reveals that it's gonna be about like big hair that's extra and super voluminous. And even though, as I mentioned, I think that she should have launched this years ago, timing wise, I do feel like it makes sense since she teased the brand right on the first day of her North America tour, which timing wise was smart because there was already a lot of buzz around her anyways. And this ID announcement featured a carousel of Shakira's most memorable hairstyles over the years. And that kind of gives you the idea that this line will celebrate all of the textures and looks her hair has been going through or has embodied over the years. As for which product she's actually launching, they haven't mentioned or talked about what to expect when it comes to what kind of hair products the line actually is gonna contain. But for me to kind of guess, since more is kind of their quote, it gives you the idea that they're going to go hard on the styling products. So think about like curl or wave enhancers, volume sprays, texturizers, but maybe also like rich masks since she's a heavy bleacher, and obviously everyone wants to know the secret of how she can keep her hair this long and this blonde without losing length. There's also no launch date announced yet. She just mentioned that there's more to come. What we do know is that the reason why Shakira developed this hair care line had to do with her having a hard time finding the right products that suited her hair care or hair wants and needs, which gives an indication that she has a hands-on approach when it comes to the formulation. But we gotta be honest, like, it's also kind of standard for people or celebrities to say that without them even entering a lab or trying out, to be honest. She also promises that it will embrace our muchness, in her words, which is a pretty bold and confident like quote or thing to say, but that does kind of suit her personality and what she brings out anyways. But yeah, again, I have to say I'm pretty skeptical about this hair care line. And it's not because I don't want it to succeed, it's just because I've seen a lot. The number one thing that I've seen is that using your face as the face of the brand, yes, can really help to create that initial buzz and that initial want for people to try it out. So it sparks people's interest, but is it something that can make Isima thrive in the long run? I mean, it's a quite fair question, and I think that even Shakira's fans have those doubts. Another thing, as I mentioned as well, is that the market already is pretty oversaturated. I mean, let's be honest, the beauty market is drowning in celebrity brands. I feel like consumers at the moment are kind of experiencing celebrity brands fatigue, and that really has to do with the incredible amount, so the high volume of these launches. In 2024 alone, Beyoncé launched her hair care range. Fenty Hair, as mentioned, launched. JLo came out with a really weird collaboration with HydraFacial, which I actually did that HydraFacial. It had mushroom in it. Loved the HydraFacial, but had no idea what that had to do with JLo, to be super honest. I thought she was all about olive oil, but hey, that's another thing. Like, Lively came with a hair care range, which we're gonna talk about later. It just kind of feels like every celebrity is trying to sell you something. And that also just makes that, I feel like in 2025, consumers are a little bit more critical. They're a little bit more cautious when it comes to like deep diving right away into investing in a range from their favorite celebrity, knowing that like there are plenty others, and not knowing if it's actually that better than just a regular hair care brand. The era is kind of gone of like just slapping a celebrity's face on a label or on a product to equal like sales for a lifetime. So if Shakira really wants to make this a success, in my opinion, she really needs to offer amazing quality and genuine uniqueness, not just adding her name on it, if that makes sense. Then there's another thing that I feel like we often don't really talk about that much when it comes to celebrities and launching these brands, and that is the potential generational disconnect, especially with a celebrity like Shakira. With all due respect, I really don't want to disrespect her, but we also got to be honest that Shakira's fan base, the majority of it, contains millennials and Gen X. I mean, I was one of them. I was a big fan of the whenever. I actually did it in a school play. I love the belly dancing because I did belly dancing myself back in the days. I know, yeah, fun fact. But that also shows you that that's actually not like the hottest generation at the moment. The hottest demographic when it comes to beauty is Gen Z. And Gen Z may feel a disconnect with Shakira. And don't get me wrong, this is something that Shakira probably can adjust when it comes to how she markets the products, maybe the labeling, the look and feel. But then there's also a risk that her OG fan base will feel a disconnect or get disconnected. So yeah, it's a pretty tough place to be in, since, for example, TikTok is extremely important into making your brand a hit or miss. And if you're not able to really reach or hit that TikTok audience and capture that crowd, it could be a struggle to like maintain that visibility and the likeliness and eventually the sales for not only Gen Z, but also the generations after that. So yeah, I think that the biggest challenge is to really find a bridge to fill that gap without losing that authenticity, which is extremely difficult, but I bet that she has a big team for that. And then finally, I would have to say that the competition from non-celebrity brands is also pretty intense. I mean, the hair care space has some amazing brands that are doing very well, and nope, they're not tied to any celebrity. Think about K18 or Orbi, I don't even know how to pronounce it, sorry. Olaplex, Shea Moisture, Pantene, Living Proof, just to name a few. And many consumers swear by these brands already due to their amazing results and reliability. If Isima is just a basic performing hair care range, it will not convince someone to ditch their Olaplex Bond Repair or their affordable $10 drugstore conditioner. It could also be that Shakira will go on the niche route and be like, okay, I'm more so gonna focus on wavy to curly hair. But even in that niche, like, she has a lot of competition. You got Cantu, Miel, Shea Moisture again, or even Diva Curl, who have been around for years and have proven themselves to be really nice products. I think the main thing here is that Shakira needs to prove that her products aren't just riding on her name or her fame, but they're actually just as good as they would be if her name wasn't on it, if that makes sense. So they really need to outperform or at least match whatever's already out there, because simply being a celebrity won't guarantee any success in this field. So my current verdict when it comes to Shakira's hair care line is that I'm cautious. I am keeping my hopes low, so it can only be better when it's better. I do think that there's an interest. I just don't know if the interest is big enough for it to be a long-lasting brand. And I am curious just what the whole brand is going to be like, and if it's gonna be something that we need in an already oversaturated hair care industry, because it's just really tricky to be successful. And talking about being tricky, let's just look into another celebrity brand who is having a pretty tricky time making it all happen, and that is the range from Blake Lively. It's called Blake Brown, which is interesting. Oh, I wrote it actually down that Blake Brown is a personal nod to her father, because Brown is her father's surname. And she has launched her brand in mid-2024, and a lot of people were actually looking forward to it, which I do get. I feel like Blake Lively has a certain look and feel, especially with her hair, that has been kind of the same or similar throughout the years, and that was a great way to storytell you into why you should try out these products, because this is what makes Blake Lively's hair the way that it is. That was kind of how it was marketed. And she claims that she has worked on this range for 7 years, which is interesting because I feel like if you look at it from a formulator point of view, you can launch a range in a year and a half. That's not always positive. So when she mentioned like 7 years, I actually got really excited because I was like, maybe this will be the celebrity brand that will show someone who's really into the development of it, that really has gone through trial and error in making this the range that they absolutely adore. She even mentioned that she got inspired by her favorite pricey Kerastase products and that she tried to mimic those formulations, which I found interesting. I think that Kerastase is an amazing brand. I have a lot of favorites when it comes to their products, which actually also made me excited because I was like, you know, Kerastase is pretty pricey. Not everyone has the budget. So offering something that is less pricey is always good, right? And that's also kind of how she talked about the brand. It was supposed to offer salon quality products at Target prices. As a matter of fact, she literally said that she wanted to create the Kerastase hair care routine she loved, but make it more affordable. And here we have it, clean. So the initial lineup had 8 products, including shampoos, deep masks, and styling creams. And as mentioned, she used Kerastase as the benchmark. Not only that, she actually openly compared her nourishing masks to Kerastase iconic Mask Intense. However, in order for Blake to meet the clean beauty standards, she had to swap some ingredients. As you might know, Kerastase uses silicones, which there's nothing wrong with silicones. Nothing wrong with silicones. And they also use sulfates. Again, nothing wrong with sulfates, but she had to swap them. And from a cosmetic chemist point of view, I can tell you that yes, there are some silicone alternatives, but I have to be honest, it's pretty difficult to find ingredients that mimic exactly what silicones can do. Without silicones in a formulation, it could be that it might be harder for your hair to detangle. It might offer less shine and smoothness, especially if you have Kerastase products as your benchmark. And I also thought it wasn't super honest for her to be like, yeah, we're using no sulfates because we want to be clean. So even though Blake wants to offer clean luxury products, I think it's at a cost of its performance. I never tried the products out myself, but I have seen the products go around online with reviews and you name it quite a bit. And the number one thing that I saw right away was that people first off were extremely disappointed with the packaging. The packaging looked more luxurious on the website and on the social channels. It had like a honeycomb, golden, bronzy look with like a wooden top, like a wooden lid, but in reality it looked extremely plasticky and cheap. And the reviews, usage wise, were also pretty mixed. So a team at Allure tested Blake Brown for 6 different hair types, and some editors reported that the hair felt as silky as with Kerastase, which is actually a good sign, but others experienced some issues. And also on Reddit and beauty forums, a very common complaint was about her strengthening conditioner, or mask, sorry, because there's no conditioners in her range, it's just masks, that it was very protein heavy, which from a formulation point of view, that's debatable, but that's how people felt about it. It basically made their hair feel quite brittle and dry. And even one beauty writer shared that after using Blake Lively's products for 2 weeks, her scalp became very dry and itchy. Another thing that people weren't too happy about was the actual fragrance of the range. The products had a very vanilla sandalwood fragrance, which kind of oozes luxury if you write that down on paper. But a lot of people mentioned that they found it very overpowering. Her line was actually first exclusively available at Target, and the first weeks they've seen incredible sales, but it hit a bumpy road pretty fast. In fact, by late 2024, reports surfaced that Target had to put it on a clearance aisle. And this actually really sparked some rumors that this range was going to be discontinued. And also around that time, there was quite some controversy around Blake Lively anyways, and that wasn't about her products, but it had to do with other stuff. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It ends with us, basically, which resulted into lawsuits, virality, all in a negative way. After all of that negative press, sales of Blake Brown plummeted by 56 to 78% at Target. In other words, real life drama resulted into real life loss of sales, and it actually went as far as people boycotting the brand and even returning those products. In fact, I'm gonna quote this as well. Some people who bought Blake Brown said that they ended up returning it because that ish is not worth 20 bucks. That's literally what a TikToker reported. Also, quite some influencers complained about the design. They said that it's clunky, it takes up so much room, and is beyond obnoxious to use. It felt like these fancy caps literally made their hair wash routine a chore. And maybe even worse of all, that person also noted that the shampoo didn't make her scalp or hair clean at all. She literally said, and I quote, "All it does is make it tacky. You have to wash your hair the next day because it's just stuck." Fast forward to now, Blake Brown's products are still being sold at a discount, and that kind of makes me feel like the future of this brand is very uncertain. And again, this kind of proves my point. I know it sounds super bad, but it proves my point that yes, a celebrity having that brand or being the face of that brand will spark that first sale, that first interest that will draw in the audience. But that actual sustainable brand success, that takes time, and that time is needed for people to try out the products and then to eventually love them enough to make that second, that third purchase and recommend it to others to purchase. And it also shows you that you as a person and as the face of that brand, you need to be spot clean. Like, scandals are almost not an option, especially if you're just starting out with the brand. I mean, there are some celebrities that got away with it and still have successful brands, but at its starting point, it's not something that you want. Yes, negative publicity is also publicity, but at the start of the launch of your brand, that's not the way to go. And don't get me wrong, not all celebrity brands struggle. I also want to highlight some success stories. I don't want to deep dive into them, but I do want to highlight, because I don't want you to think that I hate every celebrity brand that's out there, because that actually isn't the case. There are quite some hair care ranges that have managed to really get the praise of the consumer and get a loyal customer pool, and they carved out a really strong niche in the hair section aisle. I mean, if you specifically look at brands like JVN by Jonathan Van Ness, Pattern Beauty by Tracee Ellis Ross, and a pretty recent launch, Fenty Hair by Rihanna, you can see that all three of these brands look really different when it comes to their approach, but they really resonate with the consumer. Here's why. When Queer Eye star Jonathan Van Ness launched JVN Hair, it really stood out from the celeb pack for its authenticity and its mission. And I think that all has to do with its marketing approach. Yes, JVN itself is front and center when it comes to these campaigns, and I had the honor to be in his podcast last year, and he is just as amazing as he seems online. And I'm actually going to his theater show in December because he's here in Amsterdam, and I feel like his brand really oozes who he is, but in a way that is so marketable. He and the brand are joyful, inclusivity minded, and he's actually a hairstylist by trade, which, we gotta be honest, that also boosts credibility. He knows what he's talking about. The brand's tagline, "Come as you are," really shows this vibe of inclusivity and self-love. And I would say that JVN's marketing really lies heavy on positivity and education. And you can see that a lot on his page and on JVN's page, showcasing a lot of hair tutorials using the JVN products to show you how you can use them and how they're suitable for every hair and scalp type. It launched in 2021 and it's still in Sephora. It's still all over my For You page. I'm using it myself. They still come up with new incredible launches. I feel like JVN is definitely here to stay. And another brand that I feel like is here to stay has to be Pattern Beauty by Tracee Ellis Ross. It's really a brand that stands out to me because they really succeeded at filling in a gap and building a community. Tracy, an actress and style icon, and yes, Diana Ross's daughter, launched Pattern in 2019, and her range is specifically for curly, coily, and tightly textured hair. Pattern's marketing is all about celebrating natural hair in its full glory. Tracy centered the brand on the idea that textured hair isn't a problem to fix, but something beautiful to embrace, and she often says that she created the products she wished existed during her own curly hair journey. The ads and social content feature gorgeous afros, bouncy curls, protective styles, basically the patterns, hence the name, that mainstream beauty often overlooked. And yes, Tracy herself appears in campaigns with her hair in its natural curly state, sending a powerful message, but she also uses a lot of models since they all have different hair types and textures to show the product's performance and who it's suitable for. Pattern really speaks to the Black and textured hair community, a group that was long undeserved by the beauty community. And last but not least, the brand that I want to highlight has to be Fenty Hair, which launched last year. So it's still pretty new, but I think that the way that she has approached her hair care range is an interesting, inclusive one that I do feel that has great potential in becoming a great success. I mean, leave it to Rihanna to break the internet with this hair care launch. Fenty Hair debuted in June 2024, and it instantly dominated social media, setting records for impressions and engagement in the hair category. I feel like we can really learn a lot from how Fenty Hair was executed because it leveraged an entire ecosystem. Rihanna treated Fenty Hair as an extension of her already powerhouse Fenty Beauty / Fenty Skin. On launch, Fenty Hair piggybacked off of Fenty Beauty's massive follower base. They cross-posted content, and hashtags like Fenty Hair and Fenty Beauty were used together, so the buzz spilled over. During the launch, they sent the most amazing big box with all of their products, and even though I feel like, yes, she's the face of Fenty Hair, she's also not really the face of Fenty Hair. She really knows how to balance out showing off her face, and I feel like that's the same with Pattern and with JVN, with bringing the right balance into showcasing themselves as the face of, but also including enough other faces to really show that the range is for everyone and that people can recognize themselves in the campaigns and the models. So to kind of wrap this all around, in conclusion, what actually makes or breaks a celebrity hair care brand? I feel like it all comes down to authenticity, quality, and really understanding the consumer, because at the end of the day, they are the one that needs to purchase it. A famous name or a famous face really helps to really create that buzz in the beginning, to spark that interest, to even result into that first purchase, but it's not enough to keep them around. I mean, today's beauty consumers are more educated than they've ever been, and they will not hesitate to return a $20 shampoo if it's mediocre or if the brand story just isn't it. So in order to succeed, a celebrity hair care brand really needs to have a real point of difference or a genuine passion from the celebrity. You also really want to have that feeling that the celebrity is really involved into the brand and its formulation. And also, quality is a non-negotiable. The products have to perform. Another factor has to be community and inclusivity. They're more than just merch with a star's face. They really stand for something. And finally, we've also seen that oversaturation makes the consumer picky. With so many celebrity options, people are asking, do I really need this product, or am I just buying the celebrity? Nowadays, people won't be just buying for the celebrity. They really need a reason. A superior formula, better values, or a personal connection. In conclusion, a celebrity hair care brand really works when it combines star power with substance, real innovation or quality, a real mission, and respect for the consumer's intelligence. Celebrity or not, we want products that actually deliver, and we want a brand that aligns with our values. If you stuck till the end, I hope you really enjoyed this video. It was really fun to investigate and to break it down, and it was also really interesting for myself to deep dive into it. Let me know what kind of video you would like me to do next, because I'm always curious and I really want to deliver what you want and need on YouTube. Stay safe, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one.